Hello folks, welcome to another video. I hope this one finds you in a good place. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the illies. I hope they're good for you and yours at this time. Let me preface this one by saying it probably will be one of the more unique videos on my channel. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of the most emotional for me. Probably one of the most important as well, personally. I guess there are three motivations behind this particular episode. One is it's a trip down memory lane for an old man. To a place that he hasn't been to in a while, but had some meaning, IRL, in his flying career. Also features an aeroplane, the one on your screen. This is the Piper Arrow 3 by Just Flight, recently updated. The Cherokee family had some significance to me, IRL. I enjoyed many an hour tooling around the skies in a Cherokee, including in the Arrow. And we'll have a look at the update. Haven't flown it. This aircraft's actually been in my hangar for a fair while. I didn't have the best of experiences with it. I'm hoping that the update has improved that. We'll soon find out. And I guess the third reason, and certainly the most important reason behind today's video, is that this one's a bit of a tribute. This is where the emotional bit comes in. It's a tribute to a recently departed canine member of my family. That event's still a little raw as I film this one, but we'll push on through. This is for him, and I'll talk a little bit about him as we get underway. But let me orientate you as to where we are for today's flight. And where we are is in my home country of Australia. I do feature this fine land in quite a few videos, don't I? We're on the eastern side, specifically in the state of Queensland, best state in Australia, just quietly. And we're kind of in, I guess you'd say southeast Queensland, kind of northwest of the capital of Brisbane here. This is the flight plan for today. It's not a straight line. We begin our journey in a place called Wandai, which is up here, a little country town, sort of blink and you miss it. The field is, to the north of the main township of Wandai there. Wandai has significance to me, because, actually for a few reasons, but in terms of a flying context, Wandai was the destination of my first solo navigation exercise when I was doing my private licence. I had the pleasure of finding my way by myself from a little place called Archerfield, which is down here, up to Wandai and return. That was my first solo nav in a Cherokee. Remember it reasonably well, actually. Remember it because I got to Wandai. I was absolutely blown away by the fact that I actually found Wandai. Got to Wandai and then flew one of the worst circuits I flew in my whole career. Ended up hot, like 90 knots hot on final, and had to go around. And I remember I landed runway 18. So I had to go around, which wasn't the plan because I was kind of keen to get it on the ground. Having found it by myself, I just wanted to touch down and kind of tick that off to say, hey, I can do this. And I also needed to take a piss just quietly, but I managed to screw the pooch, so to speak, and ended up having to go around and sort of delay that achievement and my expulsion of fluid by about 5 minutes. But anyway, that's Wandai. That's where we begin our journey today, folks. Wandai. We're going to end our journey down here to the south for a sort of zigzag. We're going to basically follow the road. So south down to overhead Kingaroy, which also had some significance in my career, Nanango as well, Yarraman, and then Blackbutt across the Banarkan State Forest, and then sort of follow the highway down overhead Toogoolawah, Esk, and then we're going to end up in a place called Kaminya. Now, if you have not heard of the town of Kaminya, you won't be alone. Many people who live in this part of the world would not have heard of Kaminya. But out at Kaminya, there's a guy who owns a big property, and he also owns a flying school. He flies lighties out there. I haven't spoken to him for many a year. I don't know if he's still actually around, but he was at one point, and I believe the airstrip's still around. And we're going to touch down at Kaminya. It's a grass strip. How long is it? 300 and what is it? No. 36 feet long. That's long enough to get an arrow in. Why Kaminya, I hear you ask? Well, Kaminya, or should I say this part of southeast Queensland, has some significance to my recently departed canine friend. So he was born out here. Actually, specifically, he was born out here at Lowood on a property out there. That's where he began his life, and that's the closest airfield, Kaminya, the closest airfield to Lowood that I could find. So I'm going to return him home, back to his point of origin. That's the flight today, folks. 90 odd miles in the Arrow. Shouldn't take us too long. En route, might have a chat about old mate and what he meant to the family, and we'll also have a chat about the update to the aircraft. We'll have a look at that, and land at Kaminya around about 30 or 40 minutes time after departure. Let's do it. So welcome aboard, folks, and can I also extend a very warm welcome to my main squeeze, or my main virtual squeeze, I should say, the one, the only, Miss Jude. How are you, my sweet? Now, Jude and I have an understanding for this flight that, out of respect for my departed friend, she's going to remain quiet and sombre and probably a little bit cold. It won't be too much of a challenge for her. I see the glasses are fogging up though, Jude. Even you're getting a bit emotional. Hey? Good thing, folks, that you can't see me either virtually or otherwise at this point. Anyway, welcome on board the Just Flight Arrow 3 as old mate's outside. I'm outside. Oh, hello. I was. What's going on there? Where'd I go? I just disappeared into the ether. Am I having a stroke? Is this actually happening? Am I the one who's actually departed? I don't know. What's going on here? We've got a map on the old EFB thing, Jude. We care about how do we get rid of this thing? Can we get rid of it? How do I get rid of this? Oh, I can tilt it. I don't want to tilt. I want to delete. How do I get rid of this thing again? Is it one of these? No. Is it this one? There we go. I remember that, Jude. Get rid of that that tablet. Ruins your view out the right-hand side of the aircraft, doesn't it? Folks, we're cold and dark in the Arrow. I'm not going to bore you with the whole startup procedure. What I might do at this point, for those of you that are keen and don't want to suffer through the likely emotional element of this particular video, if you're just interested in what the update to the aircraft brings, I might get that out of the way now for you. Nice segue, old mate. Show the screen. So this is the changelog, folks, over there at the Just Flight support site. So it was last updated, that's the 3rd of April 2023 when I went to school. But when I went to school, we wrote the date in the different order. We put the day first, then the month, then the year. But anyway, I can interpret. We are up to version 1.10.6, and that update introduces SIM Update 12 compatibility, Xbox compatibility via the marketplace, the latest TDS models and textures added. Well, I don't have the TDS. Compatibility with the latest versions of all that avionics goodness. Okay. EFB functionality upgrades. So they look like they've done some work there. This is all news to me. I'm discovering it as I'm sharing with you folks. Don't ask me for details. If you have some questions about exactly what's been changed or have any issues, then there are other places to go, including the Just Flight support people, submit a ticket and all that sort of stuff, or maybe get assistance via other community forums, etc. But they've done some work to the EFB, which I'm not going to use. What I'm really looking for is the way this thing flies. It was weird in a previous release, and I haven't flown it for a long time because of so. Hey, look at that. Beautiful segue. Flight model updates. Greater pitch stability and better ground handling. Okay. We'll see. Trim sensitivity slider added to the BFB? EFB even, allowing you to fine-tune the sensitivity of the pitch trim. Interesting. I haven't seen that in any other add-ons, I don't think. Spark plug fouling simulator. Oh, that's just what I need. Bloody hell, I've got enough trouble. Vertical speed, hold hidden, blah, blah, blah. Dynamic baggage, even. Smoother cockpit push-button animations. That's good. That done. Support added. Throttle quadrant. All that sort of stuff. Now, the last update prior to this one was way back in June of 2022. I'm not sure I even installed that one, because all it did was do that. SimConnect autopilot events. Touchdown sounds are fixed. I just noticed that. Yeah, look, so there's a fair bit to the update. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to criticise. I'm here to share with you, the good community, good viewers here on the channel. Yeah, let me start it up and we'll go flying. Alright, so engine start has been achieved. There was no drama, and now the ghost is back inside where he belongs, next to his beloved, his virtually beloved. Let me clarify that. Virtually beloved. Don't want to make the real beloved jealous. Not that she'd be jealous of an AI character in a flight sim. She's got a little bit too much self-respect for that. Folks, so welcome on board again. Looks like we've got a bit of a southwesterly blowing. We'll take off runway 18. We probably should take off on the cross strip. I don't even remember there being a cross strip, Jude. Apparently there is. Anyway, shall we do this thing? We should. Now I've got the Lixture. Bloody hell, folks, the Lixture. A little bit leaned since I'm gone outside again. Oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm walking like a bloody ape or something, trying to look tough. Yeah, folks, I couldn't look tough if I went to Tough University and studied with Professor Tough. You know what I'm saying? We will depart runway 18. Head around here. I did spend some time on this ramp back at the day. I remember I was the only person, probably only person within about 100 miles of the field. It was a very lonely weekend, as I recall. Either a Saturday or a Sunday back in the day. Lovely time. I think it was lovely weather, and I think it was in the cooler months of the year, so middle of the year. Yeah, lovely flight out there, that first solo nav. And I did feel quite a strong sense of achievement getting there. And I think getting back was almost anticlimactic, because I was really shitting bricks. Thinking, I'm going to get lost out here. What happens if I don't find it? I knew that Kingaroy was sort of down the road. You can almost see Kingaroy when you're sort of overhead Wondai, if you squint hard enough. Nice wide track here at Wondai. We're going to taxi all the way down to the end, folks. So that gives me a little bit of time. We're going to have a decent old crosswind. So I hope they've improved the rolling dynamics here. This thing was a little bit difficult to keep on the centerline, as I recall. And that's a decent breeze to be taking off in this aeroplane, blowing across you. I forget what the crosswind limitation of the Cherokees were, but I reckon we're going to be pushing it. Anyway, it gives me a little bit of an opportunity to introduce the subject of the tribute section of this flight. Now, he had a fairly unusual name, and I'm going to keep that to myself. I'm going to refer to him in this video, as I referred to him quite often in life, as the King. I'll just leave it at that. The King. And when you hear me mention the King, I'm talking about my canine companion who left us a matter of days ago. After almost 12 years on the planet, 12 years with this family, and 12 years of pretty amazing memories. He was a unique creature. He was a retriever, that wasn't very good at retrieving. Not interested at retrieving at all, actually, despite my best efforts when he was a pup. And retrievers are meant to like the water as well. They're meant to like swimming. Yeah, he didn't like that either. He was unusual, right until the end. But wonderful memories. His absence is really noticeable from our lives, and I think it will take a very long time to sort of accept that he's no longer with us. But he certainly remains in our hearts. And this one's for you, old mate. We spent many hours together, tolerating each other at times. Weren't always the best of friends, but I think there was a level of respect there. Most days anyway. And I really miss you, mate. And I hope that wherever you are, that you're at peace. You're at peace, and you're in no pain. That's what I hope for you, mate. Anyway, someone must be cutting a bag of onions here somewhere. So I'll address that once we get airborne. But for now, we've got a takeoff to do. We might go mixture full, Rich. We've got our barrow set. We've got a decent old breeze here. It's sort of quieting down to about 12 knots. Really should be taking off on the cross strip, but we're not going to. What else do I need to worry about? Trim's kind of important. Trim set for takeoff as I sidle across. Don't mind me, Jude. It's a pretty tight old fit here, Jude, hey? And just leave it at that, Jude. I won't take it any further. I know what you're thinking, you dirty mind. Flight plan's in. Kingaroy is our first waypoint. What else do we need to worry about? Don't worry about flap. I think we're pretty much right to go. What do you reckon? Shall we do this? Let's do it, folks. So a bit of aileron into the breeze. The breeze picks up right on cue, just to make me look like even bigger of a dumbass than what I am. Here we go. Full juice. We're going to rotate 70 something. Here we go. Aileron into the breeze. A little bit of left boot. We are accelerating. There's 40 knots. A little bit more left boot. That's a strong breeze. Okay, coming up through 60, we're starting to fishtail. We're in a bit of trouble here, and we're in real trouble here. Here we go again. We're going to take off with a nice bit of crab, like that. Oh, that's very unrealistic. We'll take the gear, and we're really struggling to... Geez, I've got that trim wrong. Here we go. Was that almost sort of 20 knots for on rotate? I don't know. That was just a horrible takeoff, folks. Not good at all. We'll just retrim and sort of try and climb out at around about 90 knots or something. Bit of a cruise climb sort of thing. We'll try and get back on track here and take an external for you as we do so. It's a bit of a close-up external as we depart Wandai. There we go. The town of Wandai over here, folks. There it is. Now, we'll be back on track momentarily. Oh, we've stopped climbing. That's not real good. Geez, I tell you what, we feel very sluggish. Very sluggish. That might have to do with my controller setting here. It's not set up for this aeroplane. Not having had it installed for so long. Anyway, we'll continue our climb. We're going all right now. We're getting a bit of space between us and terra firma. We're on the Magenta, heading direct down the road towards Kingaroy, which is down there in a bit. Yeah, we're doing all right. So we're going to pick up a little bit of a tailwind en route. There we go. Yeah, so that takeoff sequence there felt just horribly wrong. We started to fishtail as we sort of picked up over around about the 60 knot mark. We're all over the place, and no doubt I was contributing towards some of that. Can't blame the aeroplane. We've got the turbulence set at normal. Whether that's having an impact, I don't know. We've definitely got a tailwind developing now. Turned into a good nor'westerly here. Just wanted to cruise out around about 90 knots and head down at... Look, we're going to head down fairly low, I think. Sort of 3.5, something like that. And we'll get Georgie to do some flying. But, yeah, look, we're going all right here. Have a bit of a glance down at our power setting. Fuel flow, manifold about 25. Props to about 25. That's about where we want to be. We're going all right. Yeah, getting that. Yeah, it's turning into a good tailwind now. We've stopped climbing again. I feel like I want to take an external, show this beautiful part of Australia. Quite a few hours here and overhead as well as on the ground, driving some of the main drags between these towns. There we go, the red dirt out here of the South Burnett. Anyway, folks, I'll continue our journey and probably see you in the cruise. I might share a few more memories of the King before we touch down in a little while at Kaminya. Alright, sort of settled, well, semi-safely in the cruise. We are riding those thermal waves here. This power station down here is the Tarong power station. For those of you that are interested, probably not too many of you, but there's a power station in this part of the world. Provides employment for many people in this region, particularly that sort of inhabit the town of Nanango, which is back there. And we're currently heading towards the little town of Yarraman. Yarraman, folks. Lots of forest out here, and paddocks and cattle and all that good stuff, represented so beautifully in this simulator. And jumping back inside, we've got our altitude bugged at what's that? About 3,850. The plan was for 3,5. I'm sort of in heading mode here. I forget how this bloody autopilot works. We never had autopilots in the Cherokees that I flew. We barely had working instrumentation, let alone fancy stuff like the autopilot. So we'll take a shortcut here. We won't bother the good folk of Yarraman. I know they like their peace. There it is, town of Yarraman. Stopped there a few times in the car. Yeah, so we'll continue our journey. What I thought I'd kind of share. You have heard the King in a few videos. He has made a contribution to more than a few. He was often my canine co-pilot. He would be seated right next to me as I made quite a few videos. Particularly in sort of later times, he'd plonk himself down here and keep me company and do his best to keep me honest as well. I think that was our job in life, to try and keep each other on the level. I don't know if either of us succeeded in doing so, but I very much appreciated his company. I hope that he appreciated mine in some form. I did try to look after you, mate. I did try and keep you comfortable and safe, which was a challenge, because he was the sort of animal that would do things that would make it challenging to keep him safe. I had to protect him from himself sometimes. I had to protect him from the other younger creatures. He was our elder statesman as far as the canine members of our family were concerned. Almost 12 years, just shy of his 12th, and in pretty reasonable nick, considering the challenges that he had to overcome physically, until the end, until that final day, where we were forced to make a decision that no one ever wants to make, but we all realise that we must, as custodians, as carers of our animal friends. Sometimes we must make the most difficult decision, out of compassion, to give our animals that final rest. And I hope that wherever he is, that he understands that, and I hope that he is running through the paddocks as he wanted to. He was a young dog trapped in an old dog's body towards the end. And yeah, I hope that he has the freedom that he so longed for, wherever he is. So thank you, mate, for everything that you brought to our lives. You're a huge part of this family. Your absence is felt so deeply, but as is our gratitude for the fact that you chose to join us for your life. Yeah, thanks, mate. Folks, in terms of the aeroplane, it's flying okay. I am a little bit not fully engaged here in terms of the virtual aviation aspect of this flight. There are other things going through my mind, but from what I can tell, the aeroplane's flying okay. We'll see how it goes on approach. I always felt it was a bit wobbly on the approach. It'd shuffle down final. It was just weird. We'll see how it is. I've got a little way to go. We're sort of about to make the turn. There's sort of a crossroad here in real life. If you sort of continue out towards the east, you end up in a certain place out towards Kilcoy, town of Kilcoy, or if you sort of take a more southerly direction, you head down towards Toogoolawah and then Esk. And that's kind of where I'm going to be headed, sort of out here. And yeah, before an approach into Kaminya. So we'll see you for that final bit of the flight. Alright folks, so the concluding stages of the flight. This is the Kaminya strip down here. We're going to fly a left circuit down onto a runway that orientates towards the northwest. As the northwesterly has held up for this flight. There we go. There's the strip there. Yeah, plenty long enough for us. Let's see, I think the Atkinson Dam, that one out there, from memory. Brisbane main water supply, sort of over here. Wivenhoe and Somerset, this one over here, Wivenhoe. Stores a shitload of water, but at times not enough. And when we flood, we flood. And we flooded a little bit too frequently. in southeast Queensland of late. Last sort of decade or so, we've had some 3 or 4 flood events, haven't we, folks? Those of you that inhabit this part of the world. Anyway, we will make a circuit here. Try and maintain visual with the field, which is sort of back over there. We're going to get a little low here, I feel. Just don't feel like I've got my flying mojo happening today, folks. So apologies to any of the purists that are looking for perfection. And as I've said before, if that's what you are in search of, why are you here? But thank you to everyone who has been brave enough to subscribe to this channel. Thank you to all of the recent subscribers. Hasn't been that many of you. The channel growth, as the marketing gurus talk about, has dropped off significantly. I'm just not making enough videos, or people just don't like this stuff that I make. Getting sick of it, and yeah, the old subscriber growth metric has dropped right off. We are absolutely going to lose sight of the field here. There it is. We're going to turn for home, fella. We'll take gear as we do so. Slow ourselves up a little bit. Reduce that rate of descent though, mate. We're going to overfly the centre line. There we go. We have a little bit. And what's half a mile between friends? Come off that juice mixture, full rich. Got the gear down, I hope. Yeah. And we'll slow. She doesn't want to slow down too much. And take sort of first stage of flap. There we go. Final approach. Ooh, geez, that trim feels weird. Quite a strong breeze that we're going to be landing into. There's our field. Oh, that's a piercing sound. The birds are very, very nervous. It's incredible, right on cue. Birds, I would appreciate a little bit of shush as I make the final approach here. I'm going to take second stage of flap. I do want to get this one on. Oh, boy, that's loud. We'll retrim and we'll take final flap. We'll sort of truck down here at about 75 knots even. Birds, I'm struggling as it is. We're going to land with a bit of a crosswind. Fighting this one a little bit. About 75 knots. Here we come. Oh boy, she's all over the place. I feel like I might stall this one in. We've got full power happening just to get us to the threshold. Oh my lord. Really fighting this one all the way down final. Feels completely wrong. We'll take the power off. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you're screeching. I'm screeching in my mind as well. Can we get it on, folks? There we go. Are we on? Did we bounce that? I have no idea. Oh, that was just a horrible approach. Absolutely horrible. My sincere apologies even to everyone watching this. I'm almost tempted to not publish this video. I'm going to pull across into the parking spot. Oh, and the birds are not happy. Oh, I'm very disappointed to end the video that way. That just felt totally wrong. We'll get the flaps coming up because that's what professional pilots do. We've sort of stopped. I felt like I was going to stall that in. I was at full power there on short final. Sloppy flying. I'm not a big fan of the aeroplane in this sim. There's something about it for me that isn't quite right. But anyway, folks, welcome to Kaminia, and thank you for your company in another video. And can I say, by way of closeout, welcome home, King.